Well, 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 Miss Taylor Swift is continually defying our expectations. I think most of you are in the same position that I was, where you thought that we were going to get a rep announcement today. Although midway through the day, I saw some of the things that Taylor Nation was tweeting, and I was starting to think that we were going to get a behind-the-scenes documentary. That's not quite what we got, but we kind of got a little bit something close to that. A little bit of a sampler sprinkler of that. I firmly believe that if Taylor Allison Swift does not release an entire 4-part Disney Plus series on the behind-the-scenes logistics of the Eras Tour, she is failing as a human being and a performer, right? Because I am so vastly interested, and every little crumb, every little morsel of behind-the-scenes information that I get about Eras Tour, I get a little bit more curious about how she makes it happen. Like, obviously, part of the video that we got today, which we're going to discuss more later, is to show just the incredible volume of work that she's doing. Because I think part of performance art, which is something that I very firmly believe in, that is, every time we see Taylor Swift, all of her actions, all of her clothing, everything that she is doing, that is performance art, and she is telling a story with that, and she is also telling a second story with her song lyrics and everything like that. There's a story that she's telling with the Eras Tour. The Eras Tour is a living, breathing production. It's never the same twice. Like, people have actually done calculations to even see if she's repeated all of the outfits and stuff twice, and there has never been 2 issues of the Eras Tour that were the same. And a lot of people want to come on the internet and say, oh, Taylor Swift is competing unfairly because she's releasing all these different versions of all her things. If you're saying that that is the, like, worst thing or the bad thing that Taylor Swift does, or, like, the thing that people should be worried about, you don't even understand what Taylor Swift does well. Because what Taylor Swift does amazingly well is keep feeding us expectations, keep thwarting those expectations, and keep us watching every single freaking stream to see what are the surprise songs going to be, what kind of costumes is she going to wear, who is she going to bring in special guests, is Travis going to be there? All of these different things make people, regardless of whether they're the type of fans to clown or not, want to tune in every time. Even though there is a much higher quality version of the Eras Tour that you can watch on Disney Plus whenever you want. Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people turn into grainy YouTube and TikTok and Instagram streams to watch the Eras Tour and to see what's happening. And that is the most masterful thing that Taylor Swift is doing, and that is the thing that so many other people don't appreciate. If Taylor Swift couldn't do that, then she couldn't sell 6 different copies of the same album, because people would be bored of her stuff. But she finds ways to mix things up, to only give us information a little bit at a time, to give us different variants and to work with different collaborators and all of these different things, all of these different mix matches, and that makes us feel a completely different way about the stuff that she's feeding us. It feels new and fresh and different, and every time we listen to a song, even if it's one of our old favorites, we are reprocessing that song with the newest available information that we have concerning Taylor Swift and her life. So like I said, most of us were expecting to get rep today, and especially when Taylor stopped in the middle of the TTBD set, in the middle of So High School, and brought out Florence from Florence and the Machine, and they did an immaculate version of Florida, a beautiful version of Florida, a version that I must have in 4K. If she doesn't do 4K versions of at least the collaborations that she's had on the Eras Tour, she's failure. She's failure. I don't love her anymore. I need to see this in 4K. I need to examine every pore. I need to hear every crisp note. But I also really would love to have, especially the surprise song mashups, on some form of higher quality production. Obviously, we're getting some sprinkled out here and there, especially in digital releases and stuff like that, but I would love to have a full Eras experience that is a 7-part miniseries that's behind the scenes, how she trained for it, all of the planning, all of the symbolism, all of the lighting and the dance moves and stuff like that, and then a 4 full K video of the TTB with a Feminine Rage segment. I want all of that together, bundled together, and I would probably pay it. I hate that it is the truth, but it is the truth. But anyway, we have this beautiful immaculate version with Florence, which, by the way, if I drop any terms, if I mention anything in brevity in this video that you're like, what the heck is that all about, and you want to see a video about it, please mention down below. I have about 800,000 video ideas for Taylor videos, and I just don't know what there is demand for. But anyway, so after Florence leaves the stage, everybody's expecting when the surprise song set hits that she's going to use half of the surprise song set to announce Reputation, or like I said, maybe announce a documentary, since we're hinting at behind the scenes stuff earlier in the day. That's not what she did. She did a heartbreaking, amazing, makes me think about it, I will have thoughts about this probably for the next 7 business days, medley with Jack Antonoff, which I couldn't talk about in this video if I wanted to, because I'm just my thoughts are so jumbled right now about it. I don't even know how I mean, I know that I loved it. I know it was amazing. Well, I need to examine that because I feel like there's something going on there. And then he leaves the stage and the piano comes out and we're like, okay, this is where we get rap, right? And nope, we get So Long London, and it's not even a mashup. There was some differences though. It was definitely in a different key. A lot of us picked up on that, but I also feel like at times there was a different song's backing piano track being played behind So Long London, and I couldn't necessarily identify it. Again, like I said, I have so many theories, and a lot of them involve me like looking through a bunch of things and listening through a bunch of things. So if anybody has done the work on this one already and can tell me what she was playing in the background through the segment where it didn't necessarily sound like it was the normal So Long London background music, it wasn't the entire song. It was just like maybe a quarter of it, like 2/3 of the way through. I will be thinking about that for a while too. And then a lot of other things were fairly normal. Like there were little glitches throughout the entire night, I think a lot of people noticed, but we definitely didn't get any big announcements. And then I think it was after the end of the show, or maybe it was at the end of the show, I'm not necessarily sure because I tuned out, we get the announcement that I Can Do It With a Broken Heart video is coming out, and I was very excited, and especially when we saw that there was going to be some behind the scenes stuff as well. I really hope that this is a secret trailer for the eventual miniseries she's going to be doing about the logistics of the Eras tour. I just think, like I said, there are a lot of people that do that kind of content on YouTube, like Half as Interesting and Sam from Wendover's Wendover Productions are incredible content. And like, I did not have any interest at airplane logistics and airport logistics and UPS logistics, but he made it so interesting that I could just sit there and watch it for hours. I originally put it on as insomnia content so I could knock myself out, and then I ended up staying up a bunch more hours. I definitely think that there's tons of people that are interested to know how the behind the scenes works, like how much training is involved, because obviously this video that we get of I Can Do It With a Broken Heart, we see an immense amount of training. There's tons of different outfits. All of the people are changing their outfits and shoes, and like obviously this isn't something that they put together in a day to kind of fake a montage of her doing something. One of the things that I've often joked about Taylor Swift is that she doesn't show us nearly as much of her life as she used to. Every single time we see her, it is at a planned, carefully curated event. We never see her in her sweats, we never see her in her workout gear or whatever. And that is something that ever since Rep, she has very carefully curated her image of. And it was fascinating. It really feels like this is her saying, hey, the Eras era is over. This era of having to prioritize PR image so that I can eventually get the money back on my masters and that this can work. Because when she started this plan of trying to regain control of her masters, a lot of people thought it was a silly, foolish idea and that she was never going to make the money back, because it is very difficult to keep people's interest, especially in 2024. There are so many pop girlies that are killing it this year. So many pop girlies are killing it right now. And still, even though like a lot of us, there are two independent musicians that I am fascinated by right now and that I'm like doing everything in my power to try and promote, like as a content creator and as a fan and stuff like that. I still keep coming back to Taylor. I still keep watching the Eras tour every freaking thing. It's every freaking time it's on. It is amazing how Taylor Swift has managed to adapt to the attention economy. Taylor growing up on MySpace and Tumblr and things like that really gives her a perceptiveness regarding this attention economy that so many other celebrities just do not have. So many other celebrities just make fun of social media, act like it's below them. And because of that, they can't leverage it the way that it would be ideal to leverage. But enough yapping, I do want to discuss my thoughts about the video. Now, I will probably continue to have new thoughts about this video every time I watch it for like the next year or so. I've seen it like 2 or 3 times now, and these are just kind of like my immediate thoughts. In 2 hours, it's gotten 2.4 million views. That's incredible. It had gotten like 1.4 million in the first hour I saw, which is not chump change. I love how this video is using A Night at the Eras tour to kind of frame this video, right? Because this song is kind of about telling her fans what she's been going through in her head while she's been acting on the stage. And I think associating these two things together this way, associating a fan's night of pleasure at the Eras tour with all of the hard work that Taylor has done while she had a broken heart, it's it's masterful. There are some people who can really easily look at another person and kind of put themselves in that person's shoes and think about, like, if I was that person, how would I feel? But that's like not most people, from what I've realized, especially because some of her youngest fans don't have the most media literacy, and sometimes the way things fly over their heads, like, they don't necessarily realize when something is satirical and when something's a metaphor. I think one of the most important things you can do as a human being is to set a good example for people and to lead by setting that example. And one of the best examples that Taylor has set is just how every person that works on the Eras Tour and every person that works around her is a part of that overall experience, of the story she's telling, of the art that she's creating. A lot of artists let it get to their head. A lot of artists lash out whenever they think people might be around them so they can get extra money. Taylor very regularly gives $100,000 bonuses to her truck drivers, so I can only imagine the amount of money that she probably gives in gifts to her dancers. But more importantly than that, I know so many of these dancers' names, and so many of her fans know so many of these dancers' names. Every night, one of the things so many of us turn in for is Cam, the dance that he does before she says nice and bejeweled, and how he does a different count up every night. And I love that, because that is something that is going to help those dancers for the rest of their careers. I also love this visual of bringing hands together in a circle, and I love how the dancers that are closest to us, their heads are out of the frame, and you've got several hands that the viewer can kind of imagine is their hand in the circle. It, again, is a framing mechanism that really brings the viewer into the art. I love all of the visuals that we are getting of the behind the stage, the mechanics of how everything works. Because I've been wondering for a while the full mechanics of all of the lifts, all of the drops, everything. In my mind, I thought every night she was doing belly flops into like a bouldering crash pad. I'm now realizing that this is more of an inflatable type thing. And I loved seeing her like ride on this thing. It's so silly. One of the things I really love about Taylor is that, especially at this era in her career, she's not afraid to look silly. Love seeing her in the little cleaning cart. I think this is so important. I Can Show You Lies. It is something that I've hammered in several of my other videos on Taylor. The fact that we do not have a very good idea of what she does with her time. The large majority of the time, the photos that we see on social media and stuff like that are post-dated. The only way that we're able to date things is by like what outfit she's wearing versus like what outfit she might have been papped in that day. Like I said, ever since Rep, she has made a very clear distinction between Taylor Swift, the brand, this polished, perfected image where she's always wearing an outfit that has some sort of symbolism, some sort of Easter egg, some sort of meaning. She's being seen with the people that she wants to be seen with when she wants to be seen with them and things like that. This cleaning cart is a very good example of how good she is at doing those things, how good she is at evading our sight. She is reminding us that there is this entire life behind the scenes where she has raised a child that is the Eras Tour and birthed it out into the world, and we only have this fragment of an idea of what it might take. Like, a lot of us are like, oh, ha ha ha, she's probably singing all her songs on the treadmill. And like, I think on some level, those of us that have like theater training and stuff like that, like, we knew like some of the level, but like, also, I've seen some decent theater productions in my day, and like, I'm just looking at all of the behind the scenes and all of the like symbols on the floor and stuff like that that are obviously indicative of like lighting and special effects and stuff like that. So all of the timing in the show is just microsecond perfect, and I'm like, holy crap. The cleaning cart is reinforcing the lack of information that we have about her true whereabouts when she doesn't want to be seen, and how good she is at it. Because like a lot of us have been saying, there is a lot of hinting that she is going to be blowing away brand Taylor, killing off brand Taylor, and bringing back her true self. Inevitably, like she says in this song, some of the things that she has told us or let us believe are not true, and we are probably very shortly going to be realizing just how many of them are not true. I love how I'm a Real Tough Kid takes it back to practice. I think a lot of times when we focus on toughness as a culture, we think of like being able to take a hit, right? We think of acute toughness almost, whereas a lot of times like it is harder to endure this over time, like this for a couple of months compared to this in a second, a lot of people don't realize how much work and sweat and blood and tears and everything goes into this. And you see, like I said before, not only Taylor, but everyone around her going through that. And like, this is why I'm like, I believe that all of these people are extremely well compensated because of the amount of work that they do. Like, if you pay attention to the background surroundings, this is very obviously like months worth of practices and preps and stuff like that. And like, obviously, but still. I love that she's wearing the "You Need to Calm Down" jacket. And that I think she wears this a couple of times over the course of this. It's interesting that this is obviously during the like lavender haze phase because you've got the ladders up into the clouds. But it's obvious that she was wearing this a couple of times because there's a point later on where she's wearing different boots and she's wearing that jacket too. So interesting. This clip is a little bit later on. And you've got a lot of this different coloration, which I'm assuming means different floor colors or floor effects. And then just like silly, goofy, fun time in the background. I love knowing that a performer isn't too good to like have a laugh. I also think that if she didn't have these clips, that it would probably make it look like all they did was work constantly, which kind of makes her look like maybe not the bestest boss. So I love these like more fun time, jolly. This is probably at the end of a night after they've had a successful time. And then you see, I think that's Jan or Jan. I don't honestly know how his name is pronounced. I'm so sorry. I've only ever read it. So if Jan, I'm gonna assume it's Jan. But if it's Jan, my bad. High-fiving Daddy Swift. I also sometimes wonder if he is on stage as like a male form of Taylor. One of these years I'm gonna watch way too much footage about the Eras tour and I'm going to figure out all of the symbolism and crap that she's baked in there, but it will probably not be for many years. And this is obviously when we're doing some blocking for the TTBD set on stage. In the background we have input 1. Obviously she hasn't put all of the images, all of the final images in yet. I suspect that she's doing this before TTPD released, and these are images that like she didn't want people to see until the album was fully out. That's just cool. And I love how the dress is just the original, the white version. This is how it's actually sold, and then Vivienne Westwood customized it, or maybe it's Taylor's costumer. One of them customized it to have the text at the bottom. That shot's beautiful. It gives me very Darth Vader mastermind energy, which is very interesting, especially because the coloration gives it Speak Now vibes. Just interesting to me. Another scene, we're at a different location and we're going through different blocking. In this video, there are a couple of points where the choreography doesn't look super familiar to me, and I'm really hoping that a content creator is going to go through and figure out which points of the choreography each of these scenes are from to see if there are any Easter eggs from later. I love how many of these behind the scenes clips are literally behind the scenes, as in behind Taylor, because like I said, this just really gives me the continued belief that this is an advertisement for some future behind the scenes documentary we're going to get. I don't believe we've seen this outfit yet. At least I've never seen it before. So it's interesting to me that it is being debuted in this video, and that makes me think that she wants us to know that something big is happening when we see this again. But correct me if it has already been out before, but I don't remember seeing the gold one. Then I love this because these panels right here seem to me like they're conveying that this is where a special effect in the floor is going to be. That's my guess, at least. So previously, a lot of people believed that I Can Do It With a Broken Heart was about the beginning of the Eras tour, you know, with the whole Joe breakup and things like that. But it's interesting to me that she's not using footage from that time period, and like she could have captured footage from that time period, or she could have captured footage of her practicing like the first part of the set. It's interesting to me that this TTBD part of the set that she was practicing when she was ostensibly happily in a relationship with Travis is what we are seeing while she is saying about how she can do it with a broken heart. It definitely puts a certain image in the viewer's mind, and I don't necessarily want to convey this perspective that like the things that we hear and the things that we see are always supposed to like correlate directly to one another, and then one thing is not a metaphor for another thing, and sometimes the footage is just pretty and what the artist wanted to convey was prettiness, but there's definitely certain images that are going to be put in somebody's head, and it's interesting to me. I'm curious, did she direct this herself? Because the large majority of her... Yes, director, producer Taylor Swift. She directed this herself, which means basically every clip in here, she made a tactical decision to put at the part of the song when she put it. And it's very interesting to me that when she's saying, "I'm so depressed I act like it's my birthday every day," playing during these scenes when, like, I would otherwise say, oh, she objectively looks very happy, but it's just kind of a reminder that, like, she can and will show us lies. She will put on a smile and she will go out and act, and maybe she has a broken heart while she does it. Obviously, I think there's also the factor of, like, sometimes when you have a broken heart and when you come together with the community of people that is valuable to you, those people can heal you by making you laugh, or at least they can distract you from your pain for a while by making you laugh. And I think that's a really interesting thing to keep in mind as well, because her dancers are, yes, they're her employees, so I don't necessarily want to go out and say that they are her friends, because there's going to be a line there. But there's also a level of, they kind of have a vibe for her mood every day. They are the ones that are empowered in a position to, like, make her laugh. Cam strikes me as being the type of individual who's really good at making somebody laugh if they're having a bad day, you know? Again, we're seeing more and different floor markings on the ground. This is interesting, this gold segment. A lot of people have made the connection between Taylor and Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz and the Yellow Brick Road, and a lot of us have made different predictions about how exactly the Yellow Brick Road metaphor works, and it's very interesting to me that there are several really prominent parts in the Eras tour right now where she is walking on a golden or yellow stage, and that always makes me think of that Yellow Brick Road. I love that costume change cut. Some of the cuts in this are just so good. And I'm assuming that this is probably the night of TTBD release, maybe, because of, like, the pictures in the background. This has got to be some important night for them, because it looks like there's a celebration in the background, and that just makes, I think what she wants us to convey from this is that even on the release night, like, she was hard at work on the tour. I would love to know, like, what a month in her life actually looks like, because, like I said, we see such a small percentage of what her life looks like. It's also very interesting just the people that are shown in the video versus the people who are not shown in the video. I can't wait until some obsessed Swiftie figures out what all these symbols on the floor mean. Ugh. That's gonna be great. There is the jacket from You Need to Calm Down Again. Different boots this time, and now the big joke is, like, are these the new rep boots? Now, the thing is, though, I feel like these are very similar to one of the rep costumes that one of her dancers have, and I almost wonder if she's not wearing somebody else's boots just to F with us. I'm not 100% convinced that's an Easter egg, but I know some people are. I love this scene because A, she looks like a cat making biscuits. I'm sure she's practicing a piano thing or whatever, but she looks like a cat making biscuits. And also, she's got these great boots on. Oh, they remind me of, like, aviator boots or, like, Edwardian bicycling boots. She's just got great fashion sense, especially with regards to athleisure. And we don't get to see her in athleisure very much anymore, so I love this. I love all this. More practicing of the TTBD set, and just, like, the scale of this room is massive. She's so beautiful. Yes, Cam, love him. Love that she's wearing the Fortnite skirt. This is something that she's giving us so that we can establish some temporality. I can't wait till some obsessed fan manages to, like, associate almost all of these scenes with a date. I am and will always be a karma truther. Love the bicep kiss from the beginning of The Man. And the dive. And that's when we get to see I love seeing under the stage, especially just because of how cool the lighting looks. And just, I really love how she's framed all of these shots. It has a very sci-fi look to it. And especially with, like, Down Bad and all that. And I did an entire video on sci-fi symbolism, so obviously I love that kind of stuff. Like I said, she chose all of the footage for this. You gotta fake it till you make it, and I did. So this is probably not filming for the Anti-Hero music video, but what this is probably filming for is, this is probably her filming all of the scenes that go on the screen behind her. And I love that outfit. She pulls off 70s clothes so good. Another, like, from behind, very sci-fi-esque type thing. And I do think that there's a certain metaphor that she uses very often where she feels like she's an alien, you know, feels very alienated from other people. I like how she walks into the spotlight. There's almost nobody in the back of this video, but there is this one woman, and that kind of gives me the vibe that she's working with, like, her, I think that's her choreographer? Is that a choreographer? I don't know exactly who that is. I'm kind of assuming choreographer, maybe like a voice coach or something like that. This gives the vibe of her staying late one night after everybody has left. I love that dress too. That dress is so gorgeous. Or is it a two-piece? That's a two-piece set, sorry. The most controversial, well, actually, one of the more controversial fan debates in recent time is it offensive to scream out more when she says, and the crowd was chanting more, in a song where she's basically singing about how she's so depressed that she wants to die, but she goes out and performs every night. I know that a lot of people feel a certain sort of way about that, and like, I don't think that it's necessarily wrong to do it, because she knew putting it in the song that people were going to do it. I wouldn't want to be in the video. I would have to get plastic surgery, especially because some fans are just like way too intense about that particular part of fan debate-dom. She's so adorable. Rest like it's my birthday every day. That fit is super cute too. And I love that little flick. Again, just like some casual behind the scenes. I think we've seen her in that outfit before, so I bet somebody's going to be able to date that. I love those pants. Those are cute. And just like, I love just seeing her at ease with them, because like one of the things that I have felt ever since I first like processed TTPD is like, damn girl, is this all really worth it? Because it seems like she has had to conceal a large portion of her life basically ever since Rep so that she could be profitable enough and to attract enough demographics of listeners without alienating demographics of listeners so that she can make all of this financially viable. In a lot of these scenes, she does very genuinely come off as happy, and I hope that that is the truth. I really hope that that is something that she is conveying truthfully here, especially when so much of TTPD just seems to be like, I've been so sad for so long, is this all worth it? And it's like, it's good to see her. It seems like she's finally in view of the end of the road, you know, and that's allowing her to relax some. I love this outfit too. And I think this is the man, this is the man segment anyway. This isn't even the TTPD set. I'm just saying, she could have used that footage earlier to prevent, you know, people thinking that she maybe necessarily isn't as happy as she presents on People magazine. I have this theory that we're going to see her climb into a piano a la Cardigan before the end of Eras Tour, and I genuinely hope that I'm right on that. That dress is gorgeous on her too. Oh, that's the two-piece set that she was wearing earlier. That's cute. I love that. Is that like the Halara skirt or whatever? That's obviously the So High School setup, and her taking a bow. This, Yellow Brick Road, it's giving me Yellow Brick Road vibes. I'm miserable. I love that little lift. Nobody even knows. And then we see it all put together. She's so silly. And it's good to see that she does drink water frequently behind scenes, you know, isn't getting dehydrated. Yeah, like I said, I'm probably going to continue to have thoughts about this. I failed to make an outro for this video. Anyway, my name is Erin Moriarty. I do muse-free, and Taylor Swift is her own muse speculation on Taylor Swift's music. I also talk about a wide array of other pop culture and media culture things. In addition to that, I also talk about lifestyle things. If you like this video, I'm sure I have something else on my channel that you would like, so why don't you check it out? I'm a very small creator. I've got less than 2,000 subscribers when I'm recording this. It would really help me out a ton.